For more analysis on this, William Lawrence is joining us. He's a professor of political science at the American University in Washington, D.C. William, always wonderful to have your expertise here on TRT World. First, let me ask you, we keep hearing from Vladimir Putin about this denazification of Ukraine. He wants to denazify the country. What does that mean? It seems like a confusing term to a lot of people.
Well, the first thing to say is it polls well with the Russian population because their greatest foe in the last century were the Nazis. And that was, in the direction and the area of where this is coming from. And a lot of Russians have been told since 2014 that their foe is nationalists and Nazis coming from Ukraine who fight Russians and pro-Russian forces in eastern Ukraine, in the Donbas area. In addition, there were a few neo-Nazis in the 2013 Maidan uprising, which brought democracy to Ukraine and kicked out the pro-Russian puppet president at the time. But a few, less than 1%, but there were a few. But Putin can build off that and turn the Russian public that supports him against Ukrainians with this ridiculous idea that a president of Ukraine who's Jewish and who lost family members who were killed by the Nazis is somehow a Nazi president, and this government has to be decapitated in order to protect Russia, which is also a complete fiction.
On that idea of Russian propaganda, so to speak, we have Vladimir Putin at that huge rally with thousands of people waving Russian flags. Is this a symbol, perhaps, that he really does need to galvanize support and show Russia that they are winning? Because on the ground in Ukraine, it doesn't seem that way.
Putin has lost more of the Russian public than he expected and has had to shut down the entire independent media, which Russians know, in order to get this war supported. He does not have enough soldiers. He's lost as many as 7,000 troops, some say more, killed, and tens of thousands wounded and sort of pushed back. And he's lost thousands of armored vehicles and tanks and things with all these sophisticated weapons the Ukrainians have pointed at him. He has to deploy Serbian, Syrian, Libyan, and other mercenaries, Belarusian mercenaries. But we even have a Belarusian resistance against the Belarusian army on Ukrainian soil. So he does have to rally the troops, rally the forces, and get the public behind him, or he loses them. And so we're at a critical moment right now. Putin thought it would be a cakewalk, that the West was divided, that Ukrainians were divided, that it would take him 3 days. And we're 3 weeks in, 3 days in, and his troops haven't moved forward in the north or the northeast in weeks. And they have had progress in the south, but not enough. So, every day that goes by that he doesn't take Kiev or any major cities puts us 1 day closer to Putin not taking over Ukraine. And if he doesn't win, he loses. He may gain more Ukrainian territory, but he won't win completely. And that's a defense of all of Eastern Europe, including Moldova and the Baltics and other countries that think they'll be next from Putin's onslaught.
We have US President Joe Biden holding that 2-hour-long phone conversation with his counterpart in China. Is this US trying to pull China into the conflict in the hope that it can be the country that can get Vladimir Putin to stand down? And do you think China does play a role here?
No and yes. So I think the way to see this is China has taken a position which one analyst called pro-Kremlin neutral. And it's going to keep that position for a number of reasons. What Biden wants is not to pull China into the Western camp. They're not going to come. What he wants them to do is simply not underwrite the Russian economy, which is beginning to fail, with subsidies, nor does he want them to provide new missiles because the Russians are beginning to run short. And so if he can push Xi towards more neutrality rather than less neutrality, then the Ukrainians have a chance. Europe has a chance. Eastern Europe has a chance to push back Putin and to reduce the threat and get to diplomacy and an end to this conflict. If, however, Xi doubles down and tries to support Putin more, which I don't think he's leaning towards, but it's always possible, then we could have a prolonged war, less diplomatic victories, and a lot more death and destruction in Ukraine.
William Lawrence, your analysis is always valued here on TRT World. Thank you for your time.